Hey, good evening, sir. As Chris Young getting ready to sit down, Rangers president of baseball operations here on your home of the Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. A beautiful blue quarter zip. Chris Young sitting down with you here on 105.3 The Fan. And a good evening, sir. How the heck are you?
I'm well, guys. How are you all? Welcome to Arizona.
Thank you.
Yeah, is this day one here?
It's day 4.
Oh, day 4. I apologize.
No, you're good, man.
You guys, it's good to see you guys, you have the wind here tonight. It should be an interesting game.
Got a breeze cutting through the press box a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
It's been a lot of fun getting to watch Cuba and Brazil yesterday, so thanks for having us out, man.
No, we're glad you're here. And it's a different spring training with the WBC, obviously, and it was fun seeing Team Brazil, and it sort of mixes it up a little bit, but yeah, it's this is a fun time of year, and excited about what we have to look forward to.
There were reports this morning that you guys had signed Andrew McCutchen. Can you confirm that at this time?
Not quite officially yet, but there's pending physical, but we're likely trending the right direction, and assuming everything checks out, we're excited to welcome him to camp.
He seems pretty excited too. Saw a video of him. He's decked out in his cowboy hat, all the gear. He's got the cowboy boots on.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I'm glad he's embracing the Texas theme, and my hope is that he was still a very productive player last year. And again, I don't want to comment too much before prematurely, but he's somebody that if he's a veteran who knows how to play. He still has a skill set that we need, and it could be a good fit.
He's a patient guy at the plate, right? Is that something you're still looking at?
He's still got an elite approach. He's a patient guy at the plate. He handled left-handed pitching last year, and with what we're looking at this spring and kind of some of the competition, we're exploring outfielders who can have at-bats versus left-handed pitching and complement our lineup when we maybe have Jock or Evan or Smitty or some of our lefties out of the lineup. So we're looking at Sam Haggerty. Certainly is going to fill that role as well. But we need another bench bat, and Andrew will be in competition, assuming everything checks out.
We're excited to get to watch Mackenzie Gore tonight. So for you, how have you thought about him so far, and what are you looking for tonight out of him?
Well, mainly at this time with all of our starters, Jacob yesterday, Mackenzie tonight. We want to see them just get their work in. We want to see them to get their work in. That you don't expect them to be perfect, but you want them to get their work in, come out of it healthy, feeling good. The pitch is starting to take shape, the command, the mechanics all kind of taking form, but you don't want to see them in midseason form right now. You want to kind of build into that, but it's been so fun watching him. And we had heard great things about Mackenzie when we traded for him. We did a ton of background information and work on him, and really everyone raved about the person, the competitor. This is a player who's 26, going on 27 years old, who got to the big leagues quickly, experienced some of the challenges of being a young player in the big leagues, but has an elite competitive mindset, who just strives to be the best. He works hard. He's quiet. He just embodies everything we want. And so we really believe that he's ready to take that next step. And you put him in a rotation with Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom and Jack Leiter and whomever else is in the 5th spot. We have, Cody Bradford, Jordan Montgomery coming back at some point, and then, some of the young guys and Kamar Rocker. We have some very talented players that we, will hopefully have, the ability to choose from over the course of the season. But Jacob and Evo and McKenzie and Jack as 4 at the front of the rotation is pretty exciting.
When you talk about a guy like Mackenzie Gore and his competes, is that something you get from watching him play, or is that like when you interact with him face to face kind of thing?
Before we trade for him, I'm not allowed to interact with him. I can't pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, Mackenzie, what makes you tick? We can with free agents, but with a trade, we're not allowed to. That's tampering. So you're not allowed to really have face-to-face or personal contact. But we have scouts all over the industry. We have colleagues in the industry that he's been with multiple organizations that we check in on, and we get background information and really try to understand the person. And, every time we acquire a player, we are making, in some ways a bet on that player and what their ability is, and then the conviction we have that they can reach that full potential. And with Mackenzie, when you hear about the intangibles and the competitiveness and the work ethic, you'd like to say you believe that type of player is going to reach his full potential, and we think the best is yet to come.
What else can you tell us about his athleticism? Sandler told us earlier he could have been like the best defensive center fielder on a lot of the teams he's been on.
I haven't. I do know he took a line drive off the thigh last outing and just wore it like, I mean, I know how bad I got hit a lot, and so there's a lot of surface area here, and I got hit a lot. Those things hurt. I mean, it's not fun, and he picked it up and threw the guy out and just kept, continued on like it's no big deal. He showed me the bruise the next day, and I was like, man, that looks like it hurts. He's like, it'll be fine. He just sort of, and so
he's a dog.
It shows a level of toughness with him that he just blocked it out and kept competing. And I think that speaks to the athleticism as well, because elite athletes have a toughness that they demonstrate out there, and they don't show pain, they don't show fear, and they just put their head down and get the job done. And I loved it. I loved it.
How hard is it to put together a complete season? Because I think that's been the one thing with them, right, where the second half of the season hasn't been as good as the first. Why that happened? Yeah,
last year, certainly the second half, there were struggles. The numbers were inflated in the second half. There were really 3 starts primarily that were responsible for that. He did deal with some shoulder fatigue. He had a stint in the IL. He came back and he finished fine. The stuff was fine at the end of the year. And there are a number of factors that contribute to that. Part of it is just a young player getting to the second half of the season, and there were years where I went through that in the second half, and you kind of just hope to get to the finish line, and there are other years where you sprint through the finish line no problem. And so it's our job to put him in positions over the course of the season where, similar to what we're going to do with Jacob and Jack and Evo, we're going to give him extra rest at times. We're going to monitor his workload. We're going to have systems in place that make sure that his stuff is maintaining a level that is going to keep him healthy, and we're going to have quality depth options that when he needs an extra day or he needs, to skip a start, we're going to be able to do that. And that, to me, and frankly, our goal is not just to have him strong in September, but we need all these guys strong, hopefully through October, and that's our goal as an organization, and that starts in spring training. We have to be cognizant of that now, and our pitching group has done a tremendous job of already mapping that out. And so I think we have the first 6 weeks of the rotation mapped out, and how we're going to provide extra rest to these guys and protect them as much as possible.
Okay, so you brought up the fifth the starter in the rotation in that battle. Does that mean everybody, it kind of will figure itself out, or is there something that you're looking for to one of these guys to set themselves apart?
Well, one, you want competition. You want these guys to be in competition, and you want to see how they perform. You don't want somebody to win it by default, so to speak. And so I think competition is a healthy thing for an organization, because it means you have a number of players that are putting themselves in position to win that spot. So that's the first thing. And really, it's going to be performance-based. It's going to be who's going to be the right player to come out of the gates and help us win games. We've got a tough schedule to start the season. We go to Philadelphia, then Baltimore. We come home, Cincinnati, Seattle, 2 playoff teams there. So we're talking about a schedule out of the gates that we can't give any games away. We've got to be ready. We've got to have our best players out on the field. And, by the time we have to make final decisions when we leave Surprise or get back to Arlington, we need to know who those top 5 in the rotation are. I think we have a pretty good idea who 4 are going to be, and then we need to know who the 5th is. And, right now, Jake Latz has really pitched great and established himself, but there's still a lot of camp left, and we'll see how it plays out.
We got to see a little bit of Kamar Rocker yesterday, a few innings. How's his spring been going?
There's some signs of, that get you excited, that you see this, the talent, the potential there. Yesterday was not his best against Team Brazil. There were some things that are still sort of characteristic of a young player who is still finding his way in the big leagues, where the game, sort of controls him at times, and instead of him being in complete control of the game. And so we're looking for him to take that next step. His talent is there. We have no doubt about it. Is the consistency there yet? And can the little things that sometimes sneak up on him, whether fielding his position or executing pitches in certain counts or whatever it may be, there's just there's a little bit of refinement that's still necessary, and that could happen quickly. It could happen his next outing, and all of a sudden it clicks, and he starts to realize, okay, and he gains confidence. And you never know when that moment is going to be, but you do know that when guys like that, at that talent level, when they have the ability, at some point when it clicks, they're going to be pretty good.
World Series champion for your Texas Rangers, Chris Young, with us here on The Fan. Brandon Nimmo, we're all excited about him. What excites you about what he brings to the table?
Brandon, it's as much as any player I've been around, Brandon, his work ethic, desire, every single minute of his day is mapped out around what he needs to do to be successful the 3 hours of the game. And so it's pretty impressive. He's got his routine down. He's made himself into an everyday player. I mean, when he got to the big leagues, we talk about, Evan Carter, Josh Smith, Jock, some of the lefties. Brandon made himself into a player who could handle left-handed pitching, and I think that's going to be a great thing for Evan. I think it'll be a great thing for Smitty, and then just for Wyatt as well in the outfield with Evan, Wyatt, and Brandon together to learn from a veteran player who has really established himself as an everyday major league successful player. It's a great example for these guys. He brings a real positive energy and attitude, and he's so personable. I just think he's going to be a great fit for our group. I'm really excited about the energy and the person he is and the way he's gelled in our clubhouse. And I'm glad to see him in games now. He's off to a good start. He had some good swings on the backfields today.
Nice.
And it's exciting to think what this outfield could be if they stay healthy.
Can we expect Schumacher to implement more of a bag stealing offense?
It's certainly something we've talked about, and I think it's not specific to being an offense that is stealing bags because we can necessarily or we have to. We want to be well-rounded. We want to be able to run the bases well. We want to be able to get on base. We want to be able to hit for power. We want to be able to beat you in different ways. And if the game is calling for us to steal a base, to put us in position to win a baseball game, we need to be able to do that. We cannot be one-dimensional. It's one of the things that I regret in the last couple years, is that we constructed rosters that were a little too one-dimensional, and we didn't do some of the things that we needed to do at times to win baseball games. And so we've got to be more well-rounded. We've got to use our speed at times when it's required, and there may be times where it's not required. We've got Corey Seager up, and runners on first and second. We don't want to run into an out, right? We want to let him hit and hit a 3-run homer. There are going to be times where we're facing a tough pitcher late in a game, in a one-run game, and the difference in winning that game is going to be stealing second base and getting in scoring position so that a base hit scores a run off a leverage arm. So we've got to be dynamic. We've got to be able to play multifaceted baseball and score in different ways, and that is part of Skip's philosophy, and I'm excited to see it.
What's your guys' approach to all the news around Wyatt Langford and a possible extension? What's your guys' approach to that?
Yeah, Wyatt is obviously, we drafted him. We've seen his ascent through the minor leagues to the big leagues. We've seen his first 2 years as a successful major league player, and we truly believe the best is yet to come. We certainly would welcome the opportunity to explore that, and Wyatt, it would be nothing would make me happier than for him to spend his entire career as a Texas Ranger. So, if and when that happens, it's two parties that need to come together to make it happen. But I think both parties are open to it, and we'll do our best to try to see it through.
There's been so much talk about the offense, but how do you go about maintaining that dominant level defense that we had last year?
Yeah, look, the defense is critical because you're not going to hit every night. Right. But if you can pitch and you can catch the ball, you got a chance to win. And that's really important for our team. And last year, we did that. We were in a lot of games, and we put ourselves in positions to win, and there were just a lot that we came up short because we couldn't score offensively. But if the offense can be a little bit better and our pitching can maintain the same level and our defense maintain the same level, it will give us a chance to win night in, night out. And that's and it starts with starting pitching, and they set the tone. They come out, they attack the strike zone, they throw strikes, they put the opposing team on the defensive, and then our position players, they've got to catch the ball behind a great group of starting pitchers, and then all of a sudden, you add on some runs and you take some pressure off the bullpen as well late in the game by having a starting pitching that can get you deeper in the game, and you catch the ball and you don't beat yourself. So, today's game more than ever for me, and something that I've noticed in this role, the best teams win at the margins. They win at the margins. You do the little things well. It's one of our core philosophies. We call it dominate the fundamentals, and it's certainly a core philosophy for Skip and the staff. The work that we've put in, the attention to detail, even things the way we touch first base and the way we cut distance off rounding first base. I mean, Skip is a stickler for these things, and it may be the difference between getting a double or getting thrown out at second base. And so you have to do these little things well in a league that's super competitive, and if you do it over and over and over, eventually it's going to manifest in wins and losses.
Man, we're getting some good wafts of that brat.
Yeah.
You smelling that?
Oh, so
what is CY's favorite ballpark smell?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Sometimes it depends on my mood in a certain stadium. If we're getting our butts kicked somewhere, I lose my appetite.
Everything smells like garbage.
Yeah, but, I actually remember from Seattle when I played there, the garlic fries. I mean, I'd be on the mound in Seattle, and the garlic fries can permeate the entire field, and it's a really good smell. So, but there have been some moments in Seattle the last couple years where I have had no appetite for garlic fries. So, but it's that's certainly one that stands out.
We've had a standout in Cam Colley. I mean, he's been awesome. We had a great conversation in the clubhouse with him. Just such a great young man. What do you think about Cam Colley? Like, what more can you share with us about him and his future?
Yeah, it's really exciting, and he's had a great spring. It's been so fun to see his maturation, through the minor leagues. Last year's second half, he really turned it on at AA, and he's put himself on the map. He's dynamic. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He can play multiple positions up the middle, whether it's shortstop, second base, center field. He can steal bases. He can, he's a dynamic athlete. And there's some real pop in there, too. We've seen that a few times
Hard
this spring.
Hit balls like crazy, dude.
All over the field. I mean, you could say in some ways he's been our MVP this spring. Aaron Zavala, too, has been really fun to watch. So it's one of the great things this spring for me is that you get these young guys that get opportunities to get out here and compete against major league competition. It doesn't mean they're ready to do it consistently over a 6-month period, but in a short window, you get glimpses into their talent level, and it gets you excited about the future. And Cam has made significant strides. I'm really happy for him and the work he's put in. And my hope is that we'll see him in Arlington at some point this season if he continues doing what he's doing.
Heck yes, dude. We love that guy.
Go for it.
What do you think about the possibility of a salary cap in Major League Baseball?
It's not my position to say. I mean, the league has really said stay out of labor at this point. So I can't say, whether it's good or bad. I really haven't studied enough to know. I just, my job is to convince our ownership to spend as much as possible to go win baseball games, but my hope just in general with labor is that we have a wonderful game. I really believe that the game is in such a good spot, and I really believe in both sides' ability to come together and find a solution. I know that there's some fundamental differences on both ends of it, but I do think the commonality that both sides have is a wonderful product, a wonderful sport right now that our fans love, and we should all put that first and foremost when it comes to this labor negotiation.
Well, we'll drink to that. We'd love to be right back here next year. No interruptions.
Likewise, same for me.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, really excited you guys are here. Thanks for being here, and let's get a win tonight.
Let's do it. It's always a pleasure. Thank you,
The Rangers president of baseball operations, Chris Young, here with you on 105.3 The Fan.